Hari Om. Who am I? That's a very important question of our life. What exactly is my nature? See, when we are born, we are naturally interested to know so many things. As little children also, we are very inquisitive about the world around us, that how this world is functioning, what are these birds and the stars. And that is how our science also proceeds to study the mysteries of this world. And still they are going on. Actually, still the mysteries of the world is not entirely resolved. Lot of theories are there, but there is no final conclusion about what is this world. But another very important question which comes in our life is who am I who is experiencing the world? What is the subject? Who is the subject who is experiencing this world? And this mystery is resolved in our scriptures and by those great mystics and great realized masters. So they have revealed to us what is our real nature, and they have also shown us the path. And one of the most striking and most beautiful book which will guide us from the beginning to the ultimate destination is this Bhagavad Gita which we are studying. We have the Upanishads, which are the most ancient revealed scriptures, and they are the essence of all the Vedas. The Vedas are very ancient, but the essence of all the Vedas given in the Upanishads. And Upanishad comes at the end portion of the Vedas, therefore Upanishads are also called Vedanta, the end of or end portion of Vedas. And Upanishads gives the essential knowledge of our own self. And that is given in the Mahavakya. In those statements, very precise statements, they are called Mahavakya. They reveal the essential nature of our own self. One of the Mahavakya in the Chandogya Upanishad is Tattvamasi. That Shvetaketu, who approached his father to gain this knowledge, the father talked about that Brahma, the supreme reality, pure existence, consciousness and bliss. And he said that thou art, you are that Brahma. There are other statements wherein it is said that Prajnanam Brahma, the consciousness is Brahma. Or Ayam Atma Brahma, this Atma is Brahma. And another Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi, that I am Brahma. So I am Brahma, that is what we have to realize and recognize. This realization, this recognition is a natural thirst in all of us. It is sometimes very burning desire, and sometimes it is just beginning like. But it's a natural desire in all of us. All of us are, as a human being, we have this thirst to know about ourselves, to recognize ourselves. And that is one who strives on this is called a spiritual seeker, who strives to know and realize his own self. So aham brahmasmi, we have to know that I am Brahma. That I am, at present, one experiences oneself as a body. We are suddenly one fine day we find ourselves in this body as a little child. Before that, where we were, we don't know. And we assume that we are this body. Though the body is constantly changing, but still we assume that we are the body. But if we really think about it, we'll find that body changes, the mind also changes, but there is something which remains unchanged. Our own presence, our own existence, our own being, that I am, that notion which we had in our childhood, that has remained constant. Lot of other thing, outer thing has changed. Our body, mind, thinking, emotions, all of them have undergone lot of changes, but the feeling that I exist is still there. Temporarily, it it disappears in our deep sleep state, but again it comes. I exist. But this I, we have to recognize properly. Who is this I? What am I? One thing which goes in the name of I is our ego. So ego is not the real I. The ego is just a personality which we have created, or it gets created. It has lots of memories and lot of other ideas, and we have a certain concepts about ourselves. That's our ego, sense of doership. That ego is not the self, ego is not the Atma we are talking about. So we have to transcend the ego to recognize ourselves. And to do this, the method revealed in Bhagavad Gita is meditation, dhyana. But before attaining that state of dhyana, we have to gain sufficient knowledge so that we are equipped to do that dhyana properly. Dhyana means paying attention to that self. So theoretically, intellectually, we have to understand what that self is. Then we will be able to pay attention to that self. So dhyana is revealed in the 6th chapter of Gita, and the knowledge which will help us to do this dhyana about the self is revealed in the 2nd chapter, and also preparation which will help us to gain vairagya. Those techniques are revealed in the 3rd, 4th and 5th chapter. So the first 6 chapter help us to recognize that Atma. That I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the ego, but I am that consciousness which illumines this body, mind, intellect. I am that pure consciousness which illumines my waking, dream and deep sleep state. And this one can recognize through the path of dhyana. But that itself is not sufficient. We should know that this consciousness or this Atma is Brahma, is the very source of this entire creation, is the very substratum of this entire creation. And that Brahma is then further revealed, the nature of Brahma is revealed in the 6 chapters beginning from 7th. So 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th chapter reveals the nature of Brahma and his expression, or it being the source and the substratum of this whole world. The world is like para and apara prakriti, and the Brahma is the very substratum of this world. So Atma, is revealed through dhyana. Brahma is also indicated, and one comes to comprehend it with the path of bhakti. But we should also know that Atma is Brahma. Then only our journey is complete. The identity of the self and Brahma has to be realized, has to be recognized. And that is the most crucial thing. And that is revealed in the following set of 6 chapters, beginning from this 13th chapter. It reveals the identity of the individual and the total. It reveals the identity of this Atma and Brahma. For example, a room. We are all sitting in this beautiful hall. There are those walls, and there is this space in which we are sitting. Looking at the wall and looking at all the interiors and the structure, this space has got certain personality. It is different from the personality which we see in other rooms. Other rooms have got their other personalities. So each space which is enclosed within some walls develops certain personality. And people, they are expert in interiors and all, they create a personality. When we get the building from our constructors and all, sometimes it has got vague personality. Then we add our special touch, special what you call wallpapers and colors and photographs and some little things and all. It adds to the personality. Now, that personality is not seen anywhere. It is not exactly one picture or the color which is giving that personality. It is the entire ambience of the whole thing. So there is the room which is made up of walls. There are all the decorations of the rooms, and there is that personality of the room. But the room is essentially that space. So that space, if we compare it with this, our topic, that space is Atma. That personality is ego, and the room with all the walls are our body, our mind, our senses. So we are told that you shift your attention from the walls, from the painting, from the personality of that room to that space. Try to understand that space. And once we comprehend that space, we are told that this space which you are comprehending is the same space which is the very substratum of this entire cosmos, in which exist millions and millions of galaxies. It is the same space which is supporting the entire cosmos. So that space, the total space which is supporting the entire cosmos, is, we can call it Brahma, and that space within the room is Atma, and this Atma is equal to Brahma, because space cannot be divided. It appears divided, but it is actually not divided. It is one and the same thing. Similarly, when we understand ourselves, we should understand ourselves not as a matter. We are not matter, the body. We are not life. We are not emotion. We are not thoughts, ideas, but we are that consciousness which is conscious of. As we go into this chapter, it will become more and more clear. But I am just starting the ball rolling, as you say. So we are that consciousness. And once we comprehend that, we have to understand that this consciousness in me is the same consciousness in all, and it is the same which is the source of this entire creation. So the identity of Atma and Brahma, the identity of individual and the total is revealed in this chapter, and certain doubts, certain questions, or some more explanation is given in the remaining chapters. And then finally, in the 18th chapter, Bhagavan concludes gives a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So this is one of the most important chapter and most beautiful chapter and favorite chapter of many people. So let us begin. And before we begin, let me again tell the various topics dealt in this chapter and various terms which are used. Bhagavan has used the term kshetra and kshetrajna. He also talks about jnanam and neyam. He also talks about prakriti and purusha. These are different terms used here. As we go along, we will understand these terms and it will become more clear. This chapter begins directly with Bhagavan's words only. But some of the books, especially our Chinmaya Mission books, you will find that there is also a question by Arjuna. Now, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, who wrote commentary on this Bhagavad Gita, and many other great masters who wrote commentary on Bhagavad Gita, they have not mentioned this words of Arjuna. That means it was not there and somebody might have added it later on. Interpolation. But it is a very helpful words which help us to understand what are the topics dealt with in this chapter. So Arjuna asked this question. If you have that verse, we will chant it and just understand the main topic. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Trayodashodhyayah. Arjuna Uvacha. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva. Kshetram Kshetrajnameva Cha. Etad Veditumicchami. Jnanam Jneyam Cha Keshava. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva. Kshetram Kshetrajnameva Cha. Etad Veditumicchami. This verse is really not there in the original text because Arjuna cannot suddenly become very wise and ask this question because these terms were not used, especially kshetra and kshetrajna. These terms were not used by Bhagavan before, so he cannot ask this question. But from this question we come to know what is the main topic of this chapter. This chapter talks about Prakriti and Purusha. And this Prakriti and Purusha, this term was used before also. So Prakriti and Purusha. Then it talks about Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Kshetra is in English translated as field and knower of the field. And Jnanam means knowledge, and Neyam. Neyam means that which has to be known. Neyam. Etad Veditum Ichchami Keshava. Ki He Keshava, He Krishna, I am desirous to know all these terms. Bhagavan doesn't explain in that order. First he explains what is Kshetra, Then he talks about jnanam. Then he talks about neyam, which is kshetrajna only. And then he talks about prakriti and purusha. Bhagwan also in this chapter reveals the method by which we can realize this ultimate truth. So this is a very what you call very deep and fundamentally very important chapter. And once this is comprehended properly, the entire subject of Vedanta will become very clear. So all of you are ready? Yes. So let us begin with Bhagwan's words directly. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramitya Vidhiyate Etad yo vetti tam prahuhu Kshetrajna iti tadvidah Idam shariram kaunteya Kshetramitya vidhiyate Etad yo vetti tam prahuhu Kshetrajna iti tadvidah. In the previous chapter, in the 12th chapter, the lakshanas, the characteristic of a bhakta, who is also jnani, who has recognized the self, is given. Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha. So he was a jnani bhakta, means not just a bhakta on the path, but who has attained the final destination, one who has realized the truth, one who has gained that ultimate knowledge. So the question is, what knowledge he has gained? That is revealed in this chapter. So directly Bhagavan begins by saying, कि हे अर्जुना कि इदम शरीरम कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्य विधीयते. Two terms he is using, kshetra and kshetrajna. Hey Arjuna, idam shariram, this body. Now we have to understand who am I. So it begins with the body. So Bhagavan says, idam shariram. Each and every word in our scripture is very important. So the word idam is a very important word. Idam means this. That which is experienced as different from I, as this is called idam. And shariram. Shariram is this body, but sharir means that which constantly decays and dies. That is called sharir. We are carrying this body, we are identified with the body, which is constantly undergoing change and modification. Therefore, it is called sharir. The day we are born, from that day onwards, it constantly modifies and changes. Therefore, there are various like asti, jayate, it is born, vardhate, it grows, it undergoes modification, then it decays, and then finally it dies. So that is the very nature of this body. Therefore, it is called sharir. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidhiyate. It is also called kshetra. Kshetra means a field, like we have our a field where we grow crops and all. So why it is called a field? Because with the help of this body, one identifies, we perform various actions, and in this body, we reap the fruits of our action. Just as we have a beautiful garden, we plow, we sow various types of seeds, and then we get the result, we get the fruits. Similarly, this body also is like a field which is used to perform various types of actions. When one is identified with this body, one performs various types of actions with the body. And we get the results also in the body. Further, Bhagavan will tell what exactly are the contents of this body. When we say this body, it is not very just the physical structure, but it also includes the mind, the intellect, the senses, that we will see later on. So this body is used not only to perform action, but also to reap the results. So therefore it is called Kshetra. Kshetra also means which decays, just like Sharira means decays. Here Kshetra also means that which Kshaya, it decays. Kshayat Kshetra. Constantly it dies. So we are identified with a body which constantly dies. In fact, every moment the cells in our body dies and new cells are born. Then again those cells die, again new cells are born. New thoughts are born, they die, and again another type of thoughts are born in our mind. Different emotions are born, they die, again they are born. So different, constantly there is a decay in this body. Therefore it is called Kshetra. So idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityavidhiyate. Understand that this is a kshetra. But the most important thing is etad yo vettitam prahuhu. The one who is conscious of this body. This is important. Kshetradnya, the one who is conscious of this body, one who knows this body, is called Kshetradnya. Kshetradnya iti tadvidaha. Knows doesn't mean intellectually knows. Knows doesn't mean one who sees or one who feels. But there is an awareness of this body. There is a consciousness of this body. See, it's like certain things we know with our senses, with our mind. For example, the existence of some object, like for example, this flower. I can know its existence by seeing it, by feeling it, touching it and all. But how do I know this body? How do I know my own presence? How do I know that I am alive? How do you know that you are alive? Do you see yourself as alive, therefore you know you are alive? Do you feel yourself to be alive, therefore you know you are alive? Do you think or do you have a concept that you are alive? What is the way we understand that we are conscious of our being alive? So there is a consciousness which is conscious of the body, which is conscious of the senses, which is conscious of the mind, conscious of the thoughts. There is a consciousness which is conscious of this material, phenomenal body. Otherwise, this body is made up of matter only, just as any other matter in this world. Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi. Matter, atoms, all this electron, proton, neutron. But there is something very strange about this body. That one is that it is alive, and another is there is consciousness about this body. I don't know the body not only through my senses, but also know by something else. I just know this body. So there is consciousness of the body. That consciousness which is making the body conscious, or because of which we are conscious of the body, is called Kshetradnya. This terms has to be understood properly, and slowly the whole picture will get revealed. Huh? It's like a painting. It's like that jigsaw puzzle. Each piece, when it fits in properly, then the whole picture comes out beautiful. Sometimes the pieces are not properly, then after the picture comes, we set it right also. थोड़ा सा दबा देते हैं. So Kshetrajna is that consciousness which is conscious of your body. This is something which we have to not intellectually comprehend only, but we have to actually experience it. This is a path, spirituality is a path which we have to take subjectively within. So each one of us who are here, you are conscious of your presence. You are conscious of the presence of the body, I hope. You are conscious of the presence of your mind. You are conscious of the presence of the intellect. Whatever you are conscious of is the body, and the one who is conscious of that consciousness is Kshetrajna. This much if it is clear. Etad yo vettitam prahuhu kshetrajneti tad vidaha. Who is saying this? Bhagavan says tad vidaha. The knowers, the great wise people who know about kshetra and kshetrajna, they have said this. Tad vidaha. The great masters, the great rishis, they have given this division of kshetra and kshetrajna. This seems to be very simple and very easy to comprehend. But now in the next verse, Bhagavan then suddenly reveals this identity. He says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama kshetram sarva kshetreshu bharata. Now Bhagavan says that sarva kshetreshu, in all the bodies. See, now we have this human body. All of us, we have our human body. But human body alone is not all in this world. There are different variety of bodies, different variety of beings are there. Right from a tiny little virus or a bacteria to complex various structures, various bodies are there. And there are bodies within bodies. Like if you happen to see your body, inside there are so many other bodies which are surviving.